Hey, hello, it's Dr. Kim. I'm super excited to be broadcasting today because Wednesday didn't let us broadcast. So we're going to be sharing today on MindBody TV about what it means when my symptoms come back. A lot of people posting in the MindBody community, especially about, I've gotten better, I didn't have pain, things resolved. And then when symptoms come back, it can be really disconcerting because of what the mind does with that. So I want to welcome those of you who are joining, and hello, Heather. I know this is not our usual time, so we'll post the recording. I know most people will listen to this recorded, so I want to welcome everyone who's listening to the recording. What happens a lot of times when we're on a journey of awakening or a journey of ascension, moving from a state where here I am in lack, I don't have what I need, and my body's suffering, and my money's suffering, my relationships are suffering, whatever it is. And then we move into that alignment with wholeness, and I am all that is, and I have all I need, and unity consciousness. It's not a linear journey. Hello, Joanne. It's not a linear journey where, boom, this happened, and okay, there I am. But when we think it is, things can really throw us off. Like something comes back again, like, well, I thought I already resolved this, or whether it's a relationship and stress or it's physical symptoms. Hi, Kimberly. When we're in that conclusion of the mind, like, well, this is resolved. I already worked through this. It shouldn't come back. When it does come back for like another layer of it to clear, or maybe life's just asking us to sit more with that energy, we make it wrong. And we go into a lot of fear about like, oh my God, now I'll never get over this because I already did so much work and it's back, it's still here. Or we kind of go into despair, like, oh, I'll never get over this, and it's not okay, or I'm not capable of managing this. And that is not at all what's happening. Hello, Jessica. What's actually happening is that as we ascend into higher levels of pure love, I love and accept myself fully, higher levels of abundance and freedom, we open up those parts of us that are not in that abundance, that are not in that freedom. Like maybe something that happened in your past and you made a conclusion like, I'm really not good enough. Or, oh, I guess I have to work really hard. I shouldn't receive too much. Or, oh, I'm just too big. I put people off. I should pipe down. Like any of those little or big conclusions that we make get locked into our system because we believe it. And then we decide like, oh, it's better for me to operate this way because then I'll be safe in the world and I'll get by. I won't upset too many people. I won't tip the apple cart. We have all of these conditioned ways of being. When we open up to receive more, life is asking us to be more of who we are. We've got to open up those pockets that like we pocketed ourselves off and let that energy release. And so sometimes it takes a lot of cultivating that space of love for each of these pieces to come up and percolate and release. It's just that part of us asking for our loving attention, asking for this space to be held in this space of loving presence. It's not a wrongness. We heal cyclically, not linearly. So don't make it wrong that you've like, wow, I've really embraced myself. Why is all my pain coming back? When we heal, we often heal in the reverse way of how we kind of went into a pattern. Meaning, I've had people go into like a physical illness and there's like maybe a stressor or an accident or something. And then there's like this physical pain. But then things get deeper into the body and then they develop like, respiratory problems or digestive problems or autoimmune or hormonal imbalance. And then they get that all to work through. And then as the healing happens, they'll have a rebalancing there, maybe mentally, emotionally, and then they'll have a rebalancing that happens physically. But what happens is all their physical symptoms come back. So now they're no longer suppressed and repressed. But we make that be a worsening. Oh my God, I got worse. Not realizing like, the symptoms may come back as we're getting better. You may feel things more intensely as you're getting better. And that's certainly what happened for me a few months ago, moving through this weird like headache pattern that I had for like 20 years, super, super severe. And, definitely there are, of course, all these emotional components that had to do with it and all kinds of other stuff. But in January, I had this crazy illness and it came back with a vengeance. And it was like full out migraine. Like I've never had over a decade, I haven't had it like that. but I knew what was going on. So easily I could have gone into, oh my God, it's all back and nothing I've done has made any difference. But I was aware of what was going on. So I was like, oh, this is all the energy moving out of my body that's been suppressed and repressed and managed. So I just wanted to speak a little bit on that topic, because I know that as we open into greater levels of love and acceptance, it's going to let more energy release, and that will come through cyclically. And it may not be as you expected. It may be in a way that doesn't make sense, like to the logical mind, or that feels like you're getting worse as you get better. And that does not need to be your experience. One of the things I've been doing with the breath work of like really bringing in high levels of light, of wisdom to inform the body, like a new download, this nurtures the body and it calls up all those energies to release. So the energies of I'm not enough, I don't have what I need, I can never have what I need, I'm not good enough, I've got to do more, I've got to do better, constantly trying to use self-improvement as a way to get more. But what you don't realize is like self-improvement, when it's grounded in I'm not enough, is never a match for abundance. You can't actually create wealth by working harder in that foundation. You've got to shift the foundation of fear into a foundation of love. And I just did an awesome private session with another doctor who just so courageously moved beyond that space of I'm not enough, so I can't really operate differently, I've got to do it the right way, into I'm willing to know who I am, I'm willing to know what I know, and I'm willing to let myself have total freedom to express who I am. Hello, Alice from Belgium. I always love hearing where people are from. Rachel, hi, Dr. Kim, I really feel like this is what's happening to me right now. I thought I was doing so well. I had my energy back. And then this week, so much exhaustion came up. I really began thinking that my chronic fatigue was all back. Yeah, even the way we identify it, like my chronic fatigue is like this thing that I am or this thing that I own. And it's always here, even if I'm doing well. So just be willing to sit with the ways, like when you feel what's happening now, the way I've identified with this pattern, the way I've identified with this sensation. I've been doing a lot of transmutation work, and I think that's the reason. Yeah, that's 100% what I'm here to say today. I've also had an eruption of eczema on my hands, but that's moved and cleared now. Is this energy moving too? Yes. So in the homeopathic perspective, which is a lot more aligned with what's really happening in the body, we move energies kind of from the inside out. So if there's like any kind of stressor or imbalance, it might be in the immune system, it might be in the digestive system, like whatever level we're working it out, as it clears, it will move its way out. And the skin is our largest vent. It's the most profound way that the body vents and releases energy. But then in the medical field, we make it all wrong. Like, oh, you got to put some steroid on that rash. You got to suppress that skin eruption. Oh, you got this eczema. You got to, suppress it. And so putting steroids in that case would be like the worst thing you could possibly do for your overall health. Be willing to have the symptoms because it's energy releasing, especially in the skin. It's always a really, really good sign when you're releasing energy and you get all these skin eruptions, because it will be temporary. Your body will move through it. Certainly you can do supportive things like keep it moist, do things that nurture the area, but do not do things that suppress the process that your body is in. And it's crazy how much we do this in the field of medicine. We make every symptom wrong, and we got to suppress that symptom at all costs. And it's not just doctors who are doing that. It's like the patient, and just the way we've all been trained. If you're not getting better, you think, well, I didn't get what I needed. I want to turn these symptoms off. Like that's what we've been vested in as patients too. You made me better because now I don't have symptoms. But that's not necessarily what's happening. A true expansion into greater health and greater abundance, it's all connected, can only happen when we honor and support the process that our body is in. So yeah, well done. Allie Marie, hello Maura and Maddie. Well, I want to invite everyone to an opportunity where I'll be working with people live. It'll be a relatively small group to do this transmutive breath work, where we'll be bringing in light, allowing it to infuse in every cell of the body, allowing sort of upgrades into our perception, into our understanding of ourselves, and a falling away of the sort of identities or the beliefs or the old way of defining ourselves that is no longer compatible with health, with a fluid life. And this is on the this is on the level of your physical body for sure, symptoms that you've been having, but also very much through your mental and emotional bodies as well. So your relationship with money, opening up into unity consciousness, receiving fluidly, your relationship with other people, who your even stuff that we've carried from like our parents or lineage downloads about money and about lack and about I'm not okay. There's so much in the collective from what humanity has been through with fear and lack and I'm not okay and survival that we're not even experiencing anymore, but that still is locked in our DNA. Not really locked in, but ready to release. And this is a really powerful way to do that, to let it release with the breath. So we're bringing in new energy to inform and guide the release in the system and then letting everything go. We are really moving into a whole higher dimension of reality. And you're gonna hit all these things you're carrying that are not compatible with that are literally gonna hit a wall of maybe severity of physical symptoms, maybe emotional challenges or like relationships falling apart or, oh my God, I just lost my job. Where am I ever gonna make money? Something that requires you to operate in a different paradigm because the one you're in, there is no solution. There is nothing that you can imagine that could possibly work out to have this be a win. You've got to enter into a higher dimension of functioning. And that's what this program is about. So it's at drkimd.com/ignite, called Ignite Your Light. What we'll be doing is bringing light into the body to allow healing. It's really, really kind of a profound thing. I'm going to just share about some of the things that are clearing in the collective right now. And you can just kind of share if this resonates with you. And hi, Neelam. Hi, Dr. Kim. All winter season, my right hand has been dry and peeling. My left is soft and normal. Yeah, this is definitely like energy releasing. I use gloves when I do the dishes. I use hand lotion. One hand's dry, the other is not. Kind of interesting. Right and left sides of the body, and they represent different aspects of ourselves. So the left is the receptive or the feminine. The right is the expressive and the action and the outer and the doing, which is more masculine. So if there are imbalances related to that are moving out, you don't even need to know, psychologically what's going on. Your body, because of what you've stepped into, maybe in honoring your femininity and honoring the unseen and the unknown and honoring a higher dimension of self that maybe isn't linear, we're cyclic, that's a more feminine energy. So it's releasing old ways of kind of primarily operating in the masculine. That's just an example of what can create that kind of a symptom. But that energy is moving out. So the more you do to honor that space of like what I just mentioned, it's okay for me to reside in the unseen. It's okay for me to be a cyclic and ever-changing being. Will help you rectify that imbalance and work this out. So some of the things that are working out in the collective, and you probably are all very aware of this, but I did a whole thing of like writing all of these things up in what is getting transmuted in this program. And it was like pages and pages of old energies with what we're integrating is I am infinite, I am divine, all things are possible for me. It's okay for me to operate in this new way, even though the world around me isn't yet reflecting that. It's okay for me to be a leader. And what's being released is the fear, separation, I'm not enough, it's not okay, I'm not safe, I don't deserve. Huge thing in the collective that's shifting. I should do more for others and not myself, like the wrongness of that. So the dichotomy of that, everything that keeps us out of the now. So like living in the past, trying to somehow rearrange it to make it better so then I can have what I need, or residing in the future, control. I better make sure this happens. I better make sure this doesn't happen. We lose access to our power when we're not anchoring in the now. All kinds of other things that keep us out of the now, like I gotta go do this. I got other people. I gotta get on Facebook and make sure I am significant, or make sure, whatever we do in those relationships. I gotta make sure my friends know that I haven't forgotten about them. Giving to others or trying, receive from others. that engagement can actually disconnect us from the now and from ourselves. So there's lots of ways that's happening. Old calculations and strategies. So, the way we're going about life, I'm gonna gear up and make it happen, and here's what I gotta do, or kind of backing off from that. Oh, it's too hard, and who am I? And kind of not having the motivation. Family lack patterns. A lot of, and you might have heard me speak about this before, but our DNA does hold these cellular memories. So they did these experiments with mice, and they exposed the little mice to cherry blossoms. So they could smell the cherry blossoms, and then they would give them a shock. And so, you can imagine sooner or later that their system would register shock even without the shock, just upon exposure to the cherry blossom. So there's an association there. You bring the cherry blossom in, and the little mice would go into fight or flight and start secreting stress hormones. And that's, we've had that science for a while. But what happened was the progeny of those mice, like the descendants of those mice who've never been exposed to shock, when they exposed them to the cherry blossom, their body would still register fight or flight. They'd go into that same fear response and stress response just upon exposure to cherry blossoms. And this was like several lineage later. It wasn't just the immediate descendants. It was like the sons and daughters, grandsons and great-grandsons, when they were exposed to that it totally not harmful stimulus, their body would go into that total fight or flight because of the cellular memory. Well, it's the same thing we've got in our lineage patterns. If your grandparents went through the depression, or in different lineages that have been suppressed or abused or repressed, it will still register in your system, even though you may be living in total wealth and freedom and abundance. And then you're like, why don't I ever have enough money? Or why don't I love and accept myself? Like, it might show up in different ways, but you'll be living those same lineage patterns because they've been locked in. So until now, we really haven't had great ways in the mainstream to access these energies and allow them to release. So one of the big reasons I wanted to do this now was it's so timely, because everyone's really hitting that wall of, I cannot move forward and carry these unseen heavy baggage. So just do a lot of breathing, whether you're in the Ignite program or not. Do a lot of conscious breathing and literally bring in light energy with the breath and let your body relax and release, along the lines of some of these things that I've been mentioning. And that was just one of the sections that we've got, because there are a whole bunch else with physical body and the sexual body, how we've made our sexuality wrong. And so then our whole sensual system has been wrong and suppressed. So people are walking around I don't feel anything, everything's fine, living just in the head, not actually sensing. But so much of what we're asking for requires that we show up as a sensory being. And so you cannot carry that anymore. You've got to embrace your sensual self, your sexual self, and allow yourself to be in joy with that, in appreciation with that. Rachel says, I'm wondering now if this course would help me, as I've done so much and come so far, but there's so much more to move out of my past. Yeah, that's exactly why I created this. It's a faster way to let a ton of stuff transmute, like old hurts and unworthiness, low self-esteem, all the ways I've allowed others to treat me. I may need your help to do this. I try not to see myself as ill or vulnerable, but it's been decades and habits are hard to break. That's exactly what this is designed for, because I could feel that calling from myself as well. This work has made a massive difference for me, especially coming into 2019. And in our previous Facebook Live, I think it was last week, we'll include the link here, we went into some of this breath, some of this transmutive breath that you can begin to use. And it was really, really powerful. And we did also email some things about this too. So you can be sure, if you would like our emails, we're at drkimd.com to subscribe, and you'll receive all of that. On the physical, there's a lot, not only with rejection of the body, but just it's not okay to be a physical being. So these are the things when we talk about cyclic healing and how things can relapse, you come into a new consciousness of, it's okay for me to be physical, right? Because we've been born in this paradigm where it's no, I'm spiritual, so then I'm not physical, or don't enjoy sexuality or enjoy food because that's a bad thing. There is a lot of fear of getting like anchored in and distracted with the physical. So a lot of spiritual practices would deny the physical, like the spiritual was above the physical. But this created a huge, huge disruption in our ability to nurture and love and embody physical form. So the truth is, that's being integrated now, you could just breathe this in with light. My physical expression is a spiritual experience. Honoring my physical form is a spiritual practice. I can make eating be a divine, juicy, joyful, sacred experience of nurturing my physical form. But when I'm not willing to do that and not willing to be a sensory being, I not only don't know, like, what does my body want to eat? What's going to really nurture me? How much does my body want? Or when do I want to eat? Like, you don't even know. So then you got to read 10 books to try to figure it out and do it the right way. But it's always really conditional and really challenging. So we've got to move out of that mind and trying to treat the body, or more likely control the body, from fear and from conclusion, and move into a true fluidity with the body. So that's like a whole other piece with food, sensuality, sexuality, and the physical body, and also money, lack, and struggle. Patterns that we've like done to compensate for not having enough, or to compensate for like hating the body or fearing the body. It's crazy. It's crazy what's come up, but there's like a lot. And so with this transmutive breath, it allows your body to release it fluidly. So we'll go into a really fluid state to let those energies release. And, you know, here we are in the live here in the broadcast, but you know, you might be like in your car or at work or, you know, doing your thing. So to actually take an hour and a half to allow a massive transmutation, yeah, it can release decades and decades and decades and like lineages of old energies from your system, from your DNA. Because for the DNA to kind of unwind and uncoil so things can be rearranged requires a higher harmonic of the heart. We've actually seen that when we're in the frequency of compassion, love, allowing, that the physical DNA in the cells will unwind, meaning instead of densely packed up, the double helix will slightly loosen. And that's when little enzymes can go in and repair or turn certain genes off and turn certain genes on that help you be healthier. So amazing things can happen when we go into this harmonic state, but we've got to create the setting to allow that, to invite that, to let the body come into that receptivity so that more profound transmutation can happen. Ivy says, "Hi, Dr. Kim, what a timely message. I've been struggling from a relapse since late December that caused my nervous system to be extremely oversensitive and can't handle any stimulation. I do EFT and the breathing practices daily, but I'm stuck in a fight or flight loop." Yeah. So one thing is, you do not need to make this wrong. What if the love and acceptance you've been opening to? So I always tell people, don't do EFT to make your symptoms go away. Do EFT to embrace love and acceptance, because that is what makes your symptoms go away. So what if the higher frequency and higher harmonic you've created is letting all these energies release, and you can just say, what's right about this I'm not getting, and let yourself sit with those physical energies as they release, because your body knows what it's doing. Kathy says, "Dr. Kim, I wonder if you've noticed in others or experienced a tipping point where it seems like nothing's changing for a long time, but after persisting, things come together where progress and changes are experienced." That's exactly what I was speaking about with, would I be willing to sit with the energies that are arising more fully, more willingly, to let them release. So it's like nothing's happening, or even things are getting worse physically, and my presence and willingness lets them sometimes really, really quickly transmute. So that's definitely part of what I've come forward with in my work. I know that things have to be changing, but it doesn't really feel like it sometimes. Yeah, that's exactly it. And when we go back into the urgency and fear, we kind of prevent it from really moving. Hi, Kate and Isabel. Hannah says, "I've been having digestive issues for a few months, lots of burping and heartburn and intestinal pain. When I experience symptoms, I'm reminded so much of my grandmother. Is this the same energy? Yeah, it could be that energy moving out and completing. And so just make space, body. It's okay for you to release this energy. And if it speaks to you, everyone's invited into that program. We have room for as many people would like to come. It's at drkimd.com/ignite. And registration is open. If it resonates with you, definitely it's a beautiful thing to choose. She says, I want to love and nourish my body and eat all foods, but food restriction is all I can think of doing. Well, what if you were to do make different food choices, but do it out of self-love and nurturance? Like right now, as your body's moving through this process and releasing whatever, maybe it is a lineage pattern of fear or whatever. But right now, let's just support your body through it. It doesn't mean I'm gluten intolerant or I have dairy intolerance, whatever. Just see if you can explore what foods might, your body might not want, it might benefit your body to not have to digest those foods right now. So don't make a conclusion out of it, but just be willing to say, hey, what's going to be really nurturing to me? Because then you'll have the energy for it. It'll be easy and light. And it's not like this, oh, my body is such a pain. Now I can't do this and I can't do that. And I can't eat this and I can't eat that. You don't need to go there. So just feel into, hey, body, what do you need right now? And you may find your body's like, just give me some juice for a day and let me have a reboot. Or like probiotic. I had a friend who recently moved through a lot of like, oh my God, way crazy old energies of despair and depression and I'm not enough and like self-hatred. And I assisted her with this. And then it was a few days later, she had this really long-term depression. She said, I just got my vitamin D tested and my vitamin D levels are low. And I've heard that can be related to mood. And I said, yeah, increase your D. Here's how to do it. And this will make a huge difference in how you've been feeling. And she's like, oh my God, I've gone all this time. I didn't know. But I said, yeah, but it's a synchronicity of as soon as you moved the energy of loosening these patterns and releasing these patterns, boom, the solution comes up that's super easy for you to do to support your body. A lot of times there may be nothing that the physical body needs. It's just going to move through stuff. But there may be things that are going to be useful along the way. And don't have any judgment about what it is. Let yourself receive it, because if it nurtures you, it's going to assist the alignment that you've already chosen energetically. Jessica says, when you say letting energy release, does that mean beliefs? Oh yeah, there's a whole section that's all mental. The way I see myself, my beliefs about what's possible in life, I'm not enough, a fear of failure, all kinds of beliefs. She said, or your body might go into fight or flight of really feeling uncomfortable when doing things that are scary to you. Oh yeah, automatic response. It's the same thing. It's automatic responses of like the conditioning, like I said, with the cherry blossoms, and then the mice would just like, and their system would freak out. There are a lot of things stimulating those conditioned automatic responses that are not healthy for us. And your body can release those, all of those programs and patterns that are not harmonic. So that's exactly what, I mean, even if you just make some time for yourself, if this program is not a fit for you, it's fine. If it is, and you're inspired, choose it. Like receive, nurture yourself. It's going to be amazing, super nutritive. But don't feel like, oh, I can't do that. Like, don't even buy into your own story. You are always connected with source, always connected with the breath, and you can use it to receive everything you need, whether that's money and wealth flowing in so that you have all the delicious experiences that are a match for what you've chosen, whether it's like my friend, vitamin D. Hey, there's a good idea. Let me do this. It was easy for her to choose. There was clarity. All of those things, the freedom, clarity, the abundance, the resources, the love. It's really a matter of you choosing that alignment and then receiving everything, resources that are a match for that. But when we want to be in the alignment, but we're like, I'm really not ready to choose it because I don't think that's going to work, or I'm, and someone said to me the other day, I've parted with my money and made an investment. But just that perspective alone, like, you're never parting with anything. You can invest and choose to receive, and you're receiving your own money. Like you put $10 and you buy, I don't know, a Starbucks coffee, and you can receive that $10 through the experience of sitting there and enjoying the sultry, nice, creamy, rich, toasty, whatever drink it is, and just let yourself receive it. But a lot of people are in, oh, how could they charge that much for a coffee? Oh, that's ridiculous. Oh, I parted with my money and it wasn't even that good. Like, you're not letting yourself receive. So if something truly inspires you, let yourself receive it. It was created for you. And so that lack mentality is what we're moving out. We're like, oh, I can't have it, or like second guessing. So then we live in this doubt and we don't actually take actions easily and fluidly. We like think about it, hesitate, sharing love, letting people know how you feel. It creates so much in our lives, but then when we're in fear, we don't want to do that. Cheryl says, thanks for doing this live and tuning in. Hello. And Rachel says, thank you. And by the way, I love your K necklace. It's beautiful. Thanks. My sister-in-law bought it for me for Christmas, and she is such a goddess, so I love wearing it. All right. This has been an awesome experience with you today. Just remember, what if I could connect with my breath on a whole different level and let the conscious breath do the transmutation through my body, let energy move, release everything I'm ready to let go. In the Ignite Your Life program, I have people do an exercise right up front to start this energy moving, kind of along the lines of what I was speaking about, with calling these energies out more specifically. So if you do have some awareness of like what I said that triggered things, like, oh, I'm ready to let that go, and I'm ready to let that go, and oh yeah, I'm ready to receive this over here, this juiciness, just write it down. Like, let your body start consciously registering this, and you can put your hand on your heart after and say, I choose my life fully. I choose my free, abundant, rich, wealthy, vibrant, joyful life fully. All right, lots of love to you. I'll see you soon. I'll see you next week. Bye.